Skiffle was really the beginning of British pop music in the modern sense, and the Teddy Boys were really the first sign of a distinctive British youth culture.
At them times, we had nothing. We was brought up with next to nothing, you know. I mean, you might as well say we was war babies. We'd never had nothing.
But I think you can see in the sort of aggressive style of the Teddy Boy era the underlying note of social envy, of class resentment, of people who were entering the social world for the first time.
It was like a stigma. If you wore the gear, you was classed as a Teddy Boy. No matter who you went with or what you'd done, you was classed as a Teddy Boy. If there was 2 or 3 of you, you were a gang.
And that underlying aggressiveness or violence came out in the response of Teddy Boys to the music. In a way, Skiffle went down before a much harder, more aggressive style of straight rock and roll.
To me, it made me feel good. It made me feel happy, you know. Especially at a party, like, have a few wines. And, all right, you fancy a dance, like, you know, it's music you could dance to and really enjoy, you know.
9 times out of 10, it would end up with a battle royal. And that was it. There was no dancing, no drinking, no nothing. Tables up. And that's all they used to go there for a free-for-all.
Surprised me? Well, yes, I guess the violence did surprise me, but the music was so popular, and I'm sure you remember, that it hit with such a tremendous impact, and there were so many thousands of people who wanted to see the concerts. I think you would find that if you had day after day that many people in any stadium or any theater for any other thing, you're bound to have some disturbances.
In England in '56, this was really a cultural explosion. I mean, there was the new music and the new styles, but most important of all, there was this huge pent-up energy and feeling behind it all. And this expressed itself in terms of rioting sometimes, in Britain mostly in the cinemas.
In North London and East London, they'd had their sort of little rock and roll riots, you know, tore up a few seats and it. Well, of course, with the advanced publicity, like, you know, the general attitude was, oh, right, like, because the elephant was the elephant, right, our right's got to be bigger than anybody else's.
Before the titles even come on, the music started. Well, the next thing you know, the girls are jumping out and the boys are jumping out in the aisles, jiving and one thing and another. Within 5 or 10 minutes, there's no room. Everybody wants to have a go, so they want to make room. So up goes the seats, everything, trying to clear away, trying to make a dance hall out of a cinema.
Well, the first things that went were the plate glass doors of the Trocadero itself.
Oh, they tore the whole stalls, I think they call them, tore the whole lot. The lot was torn to pieces. They had to close the cinema down for about 6 weeks afterwards to repair the damage.
Well, afterwards, like, you know what I mean, it was just like a battlefield, you know, and we're going putty.
Three jumped me from behind and was on the floor, like, you know, I knew where I was, and got me kicked in, like, that was it.
It was mostly the girls that sort of started because they goaded their boyfriends. You know, they sort of said to them, go on, have a punch up, you know.
And a chain, like, you know, in my pocket, a bicycle chain. So I used it, like, you know, there's about 10 of them come up towards me, like.
They had poles and things, you know, and they were breaking windows and starting on old ladies, etc. It was really awful.
Most people operate on the assumption that crime is something to do with being wretched or poor, and that as society becomes more prosperous, it ought to disappear. And as society became more prosperous in the 50s, it didn't disappear. It appeared to be increasing, if anything, although the extent has been wildly exaggerated. And I think what this ignores is that, firstly, an awful lot of, especially this youthful crime, is on the spur of the moment. It's what you might call opportunity crime, or it's a kind of expression. You're out with a gang, you're excited, you want to do something a bit daring and so forth, and then the shop window goes in.
Of course, the violence really upset adults. There were comments about it from parents and magistrates and the police and so on. But Denmark Street and the pop music industry immediately recognized the possibilities here. I mean, they had a new audience, free-spending, volatile audience, in the market for emotionally charged. Promotion of pop music and pop culture is really paralleled by the growth of the mass media at this point.
At the time, the newspapers, the films, the radio and TV were devoting vast amounts of space and attention to these events from weekend to weekend. The adults watched with bated breath. And young people who, as I said, you know, are very concerned about their self-image and want to feel significant in the world. This was a heaven-sent opportunity. They were like actors on a stage. And I think, too, just as most of the participant kids were in fact only watchers, The adults too were watching like mad. They were fascinated with this. They probably got all sorts of vicarious kicks out of this excitement and illegitimacy and unorthodoxy.